looking at a white man getting excited, and I could have looked at my brother.
Yes, sir. Okay. We can go live right now for a minister. 1 second. I just want to make sure I can get a notification. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this afternoon. We have a great panelist and a great guest, and Minister Shawn Muhammad. First of all, assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam, dear brother.
Yes, sir. I wanted to, first of all, thank you for your sacrifice to help establish Islam, sir. Thank you for your hard work. Thank your family for their sacrifice.
Oh, praise to Allah.
Yes, sir. And as we get into, can you first just let us know when you first heard the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Yes, sir. Actually, this is very interesting, brother, because when I was in college, I went to school in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm from Washington, D.C.
Yes, sir.
And I was very, very dissatisfied because I was a cultural class in Knoxville, Tennessee. So after my second year, I didn't want to come home. So what I did, I joined the Marine Corps. And when I was in the Marine Corps, when I would come home, I would notice after a couple of days, I was ready to go. I mean, I didn't like staying around the house. But this one Saturday afternoon, I was riding up 14th Street in Washington, D.C. It was around this time of day, as a matter of fact. And I just stopped on a whim. I went to a record store and I saw this album called The Wit and Wisdom of Malcolm X.
Yes, sir.
And I had read the autobiography of Malcolm X, but I never heard his voice. So just out of curiosity, I went and bought the album.
Okay.
And when I took it home, brother, I remember I laid back and I was sitting on the bed. And what I remember him saying is, "You black soldiers walking around here with your shoulders all wide, chest all broad. And when the white man says, heal, you heal. When the white man says, fight, but yet you hear about 6 little girls get bombed in the church." And it had an impact on me because I never thought like that. And also because it was mind-boggling. So it made that's the first teaching I heard of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
When the actual teaching itself, a lecture, was Minister Farrakhan back in, I think, 1984, 85, I believe. But he was speaking up at Malcolm X Park in Washington, D.C. It's the first time I saw Dr. Muhammad. That's the first time I saw the FOI. But I had come out the Marine Corps, so I'm looking at these brothers and I'm comparing them with what we were doing in the Marine Corps in terms of, bearing, stature,
yes, sir, yes, sir,
the general orders and all of that. So I listened to the minister, and one thing that he said that stood out was he defended Denise Williams, who at that time was Miss USA, and they got her. They found some nude pictures of her, and people they took her crown from her, really. And the minister defended her, and it blew my mind. It really blew my mind. So that's the first time I heard the teachings. But of course, the white man, the devil. I've been hearing that growing up because I'm come out of Washington, D.C.,
Okay, yes, sir, yes, sir. And what made you accept, when did you accept the teachings?
I accepted the teachings I think it was in 1987. And again, here I'm coming up, riding home from work. I was coming on a Saturday afternoon, ironically. I'm riding past the Howard Inn. I used to have a part-time job at the Hyatt Hotel. I was a bellman. And I had tip money in my pocket. I was going to my girlfriend's house, matter of fact. And and also, to be honest with you, I just finished up a nice fat joint.
Yes, sir.
I was lit up. I mean, I'll be honest now.
Yes, sir.
I was lit up. So I pulled up in front of the Howard Inn. I don't know if you remember that. And there was a brother who came to my car, but he came up to the passenger side. I was at a light. He came up to the passenger side and he put the paper on my passenger seat. It was John X. Jeter. Now, I don't know if you remember him, brother, but you used to know him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You a lot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But he put the paper on my seat, and I took out my water tip money and I handed, but again, I'm high, right?
Yes, sir.
I handed him a few ones, and he looked and zeroed in. He said, brother, come on, pull that car over, man. Park that car. Come on, you got to listen to this man speak. You know, and Brother Joshua, again, I'm being honest.
Yes, sir.
I was so lit up that I double parked on the corner of right across the street, and I went in there. I put my stuff up under my seat, and I went in there.
Yes, sir.
When I was in there, brother, I watched those brothers, and I was tripping on them because I was watching again, they're bearing. And I sat right before, and I was watching the brothers sit front rostrum. And I'm watching them because I used to stand guard in the Marine Corps. I'm comparing it, right? And I'm tripping on these guys. But I listened to, it was Dr. Muhammad who was speaking. And what really hit me was, after a few minutes in there, I noticed I wasn't high anymore. And I listened to it. I like what I heard. And he, you know, they asked you, do you agree with what you heard? I accepted.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And he told me come back next week. And brother, I never missed a meeting. I think about 3 years. I ended up leaving that job because I ended up becoming his assistant, you know?
Okay, praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And speaking of him, I interviewed him a few months ago, and we having a part 2 coming up this Sunday at 3 p.m. inshallah. I mean, not tomorrow, but next Sunday at 3 p.m. Yes, sir. Always love for my DC family. Now, speaking of that, when I was younger, I remember my parents having pictures of you, Brother Arif, and all of you all, and getting into the political field. So everything was big. Like my grandma was like buttons, you know, Muhammad for Congress, Muhammad for this, Muhammad. Yes, how did you all get into the political field?
Well, again, I'm asked to do things. Now, I had no idea. After a Sunday lecture, I was assistant minister number 4 at that time.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Muhammad, you know, I went up, you know, to talk about business meeting, and I was getting ready to leave, and then he called me and said, brother, you just got a request from Minister Farrakhan. He wants you to run for office. And I'm looking like, what? Because you know, my thinking, we weren't involved in that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And as a matter, ironically, I was an advisory neighborhood commissioner before I came into the nation. And that was a local representative type of office. You know, we were dealing with the neighborhood issues and stuff in Ward 8. So when he asked that, they asked me to run for school board at large.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I was a DC public school teacher. I knew the dirt and it needed help. So I said, yes, sir. And so, you know, I ran for the school board. Brother Dr. Muhammad ran for Congress, and Brother Arif, who at that time was George Excure, he ran for Congress in DC against Eleanor Holmes Norton.
Yes, sir.
And it was a very interesting experience to me. I thought that I was going to win. As a matter of fact, I thought we could have won. I think Doc actually did win. But I saw the conniving behavior, you know, the undermining. I couldn't see how people lied with such a straight face, man. Yes, I mean, honestly, man. But it was an interesting experience. And what I really, I thanked Allah for the fact that we ran and got into that field and we kept clean. We didn't lie. We didn't compromise for this part of town to get a vote and turn around. The other part, you switching all up to get their vote. You're going contrary to what you said just 2 hours ago in another part of town. That's what I used to see, man.
Yes, sir.
People lie like a rug, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Speaking of that, do you think that it's possible to be involved in politics and stay clean and be successful?
Not now. I thought we had a chance then, but no, sir. I think now it's basically run its course. You know, I think the time, like we're taught, time dictates your agenda.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you know, we've had a Black president. You know, no, sir. I don't think it's. I mean, if that happens, Brother Joshua, then it's no longer the political system. It's become Islam, or it's become a different system, because this system is run on lies, deceit, and trickery.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, great. These are facts. Yes, sir. My next question for you is, how did your parents feel once you accepted the teachers?
Very good question. They weren't too happy, but they weren't too surprised because see, there's 6 children in my family. I lost a sister earlier this year, but out of the 6 children, I was the one that did kind of like I joined the Marine Corps.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I left and went to Tennessee, and so I'm not saying that I was a rebel or anything, but if something felt right, I did it. And
Yes,
so when I joined the Nation, I was 27. I had a daughter that I was raising. I mean, her mother was in Missouri. I had her here. I was a school teacher. And, I basically informed them that, I'm going to be a father. And also I informed them that I joined the Nation of Islam. But really, it was that X. My last name was Brakim.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That X before the Brakim. I know they weren't too happy about it, but what they saw it produce, they became proud of it because they saw what we were doing in the community. Their friends saw us, in the community. So I think that our efforts had them accepted. We weren't just talking, we were doing, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And speaking of the work that you all were doing, what was it like? I put some pictures from your page for a flyer and seeing you so close to the Mosque Farrakhan back then. There wasn't a big E-team, big security. There wasn't everybody traveling to DC. It seemed like you all had more of an intimate relationship, a personal relationship with the Mosque Farrakhan than some may be able to get to now. What was it like to have such close, be in such close proximity to the man of God?
Brother, man, you're on it. You're wonderful questions because you're asking questions that over the last 30 years, at times a day I revisit. I'll say this about the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. I've never met a man nearly like him. And I'm saying that because when I joined the Nation, but I came out the Marine Corps, I was not a happy camper. I was not a happy, and honestly, I went into psychoeducation because I was dealing with students who had emotional problems because that helped me deal with my problems.
Yes, sir.
I had a problem adjusting coming up because the Marine Corps at them days were a very violent organization. I mean, very violent. And so when I came home, I was very frustrated. I went to Officers Candidate School to be a lieutenant because I wanted to be a lawyer.
Yes, sir.
And I'm saying that to say that when I met Minister Farrakhan, he had an effect on me that allowed me to start seeing from just his area, his actions, his speech. It made me realize that the way for us to be successful is to deal with things bigger than ourselves, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He told me this. He told me you have to grow yourself.
Yes, sir.
And when you're growing yourself, you don't carry all that energy, focus your energy around in your problems. So when I saw the minister speak, man, look, Brother Joshua, yesterday I went down to see a friend of mine who lives near Lawton Reformatory, right?
Yes, sir.
Remember Lawton Jail?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, they renovated that place. And I went up there and I went to the chapel where the last time I was down there was with Minister Farrakhan. I sat in the chapel, brother. He spoke to some some of the inmates, and I sat behind him to the right. Brother Arif was on my left, and Dr. Muhammad was directly behind the minister.
Yes, sir.
But I got to see the minister when he spoke. If I stand behind you while you speak, I can see by looking at the faces of the people who you're speaking to, I can see the effects on their faces, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I said this to my friend yesterday, man, oh my God, brother, this is priceless. I sat behind the minister and I watched him, and there was a brother, and it was a religious sanctuary, and they had the pews up, and there was a gay brother sitting between like 2 brothers on the right and about 3 brothers on the left. And by looking at his demeanor, his posture, you know, and just his dress, you know, you
Yes,
could
sir.
tell this brother was a homosexual, right?
Yes, sir.
So I watched him and I'm listening to the minister. As the minister spoke, I watched his posture. You know, he was sitting very effeminate.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And as he spoke, I watched him sit up. And honestly, brother, I know he wasn't conscious of it because he was tuned in. The minister was firing, brother. He was
Yes, sir. Yes,
firing.
sir.
And I watched him get up and sit up. And when the minister spoke, when he finished that lecture, that man was sitting like a man. I watched that transformation just by him listening to them. Nobody said nothing to him.
Yes, sir.
Nobody was looking at him to where he was other than maybe me, maybe. But, you know, I didn't say nothing to the brother.
Yes, sir.
But that man's words, how it affected me. You know, I mean, brother, the word is God.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He was speaking God's word, man.
Yes, sir.
So if it was an appetite that I developed that, you know, I got to feed it all the time, else I'm a damn malnourishment.
Yes,
that
sir.
came to the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, brother.
Praise be to
You
Allah.
know, he helped me, brother. And I mean, and the thing, I'll say this too. I didn't look at the minister for any type of way of critiquing him. My views of dealing with men altered when I was in the service. You know, I've seen men break and, you know, under pressure, you know, go crazy, suicide, and all kinds of stuff, right? And go crazy. I went crazy. I'm gonna be honest.
Yes, sir.
But I watched the minister because he taught me how to look for the best in people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, honestly, man. And I to this day, I try to make it. Hopefully allows me to make that a habit to where I always try to look at the best in people, man. Because if you do that, it makes your encounter, even if it's not a successful, it's a worthwhile encounter. No matter who that person, even if it's your enemy, you look for the best in that dude because you can deal with him based on that. And also, he may not be your enemy after you deal with him accordingly.
Yes,
know?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I mean, I could go on about the minister over and over and over because my experiences with him. But at that time, you were absolutely right. He was young, very vibrant. I've had personal encounters with him, brother, that I wouldn't tell people because they wouldn't believe it. You know what I mean? I would tell people privately, but what he's done, what he said, how it affect me, people think that, you know, oh man, you ain't, no, it's not like that. It's not like that. No, it is not like that. And I had to tell a few people before, you know, about my encounters with the minister. This is years ago. That, brother, I had to tell you, man, look, we don't need to lie to you about him.
Yes, sir.
That important to us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Nothing you got that I want, that I need to lie to you. I'm telling you the truth. Now, whether you want to agree with it or not, my job is to tell you the truth.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so that man, that's why he's around today.
Praise be to Allah.
That's why he's speaking the way he's speaking today, and Allah's blessing him to do what he is doing and what he's done, you know?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Excellent. And thank you very much, Brother Minister. I want to read some of the comments. Thank you for sure. Brother Ronald from Arizona says he'll believe it. Can you please share a story, sir?
I'm sorry, could I share a story about what?
Can you share one of the stories that you're saying that you wouldn't share because people wouldn't believe? He said he would believe. He said, can you share?
See, I do. Ronald, why you want to do that,
man? That's his personality, my God. Yes, sir. Could you please share one?
All right, I'm gonna say this. Okay, I'll share this. The minister was in town. This is like in 91 and 92. Man, let me see. Okay. It was around 91 and 92.
Yes, sir.
And he was downtown. We had dinner with him. Brother Captain Tim, myself, your dad was there. I think your mother was there. Sister Claudette, Dr. Lean. And so after we ate, the minister spoke. You know, we were getting ready to get up to excuse ourselves. And the minister called and said, brother, come here, I need to speak with you. And he called me back into his private quarters. So I thought that, you know, something that he was going, man, I was kind of getting a little, you know, anxious, man.
Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir.
To be honest with you. But I was dealing with some personal issues. And, you know, I felt that I handled it. I didn't feel it affected my performance over the rostrum or my productivity with the believers. In those days, as a matter of fact, man, we were rocking. We were rocking and rolling. I had to tell the minister one, and this is not, but I'll just say this in addition to this. We were doing so much, I had to call the minister and tell him that we were losing people in the mosque over there in Kenilworth because people were coming in, they were seeing the place was full and they were leaving back out. They wouldn't stay because they didn't want to stand on the walls, right? I said, well, Brother Minister, we need to get another building or something because we're losing believers. You know, we're losing the people, the guests are coming in and the believers are standing, they're leaving. So I had located a building up on Florida Avenue, and my father was a realtor, so he knew the guy who owned that building. Okay. And I was looking to get that building. But the minister said, brother, why don't you just do 2 meetings on Sunday? I said, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we had meetings on 11 o'clock and we had the regular meetings. Those days it was 2 o'clock. We were rocking. So I'm feeling, man, you know, we doing it. The minister invites me back into his private quarters and says, brother, look, I feel your pain. And brother minister, he said, no, brother, I feel your pain. Come here. And brother, he embraced me, right? He hugged me. And this is men. We're men, right?
Yes, sir.
We hugged, and when I finished, I thought I relaxed my arms. He pulled me closer to him and said, brother, let it go. Let it go. And man, I was stunned, but it was almost like he took the pain. That's what I'm saying. He absorbed my pain.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir.
And when he did that, and I can't tell you how long we embraced, but he said, just let it go, brother. Let it go. Let it go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And when I relaxed, he pulled me closer, tightened his, and then when he relaxed, brother, man, I was in tears. And I felt like a ton of weight was on my, it was like a ton of weight that I didn't know I was carrying. A burden and I feel light, man. And I was like, I thanked him, but I left because I didn't know what to say.
Yes,
and
sir.
I was like confused because I didn't know that. I didn't know I needed that. And I didn't know, how did he know I needed that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And, I didn't tell people for years because I don't, you tell men something about a man hugging you and, I'm being honest, man. And I'm putting this out there in the cyberspace because I told people about this problem, but I can count on my hand. But since the brother asked me, I'm gonna be honest.
Yes, sir.
And that was just one of those, things that I've seen him and heard him. He's not an ordinary man, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's not an ordinary man. But see, the thing I love is that he'll be the first one to tell you, you don't worship me, man. You don't sit up there. You be you.
Yes, sir.
Develop your gifts.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Your Farrakhan,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the beautiful part, and I'm saying this to you, as I mentioned to you, brother Joshua, the Nation of Islam, what I loved about it was it gave me room to be free, to do what I wanted to do to help my people, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is my playground. This is my work field, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so whatever we want to do, damn it, we got to go out here, man, because this thing is done. And they're looking for a solution. And we got the answer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We got the answer, man. So that's man, when I look at the minister, brother, it's just all kinds of feelings and thoughts run through my head because he's not an ordinary man, but he is an extraordinary man. He's very extraordinary, man.
Praise be to Allah.
I hope I answered that to Brother Ronald, though.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Ronald, for the question. My sister Miriam and Naima both send the greetings. Thank you all for watching, and thank you all for continuing to watch the People's Podcast. My sister Miriam says, "Thank you, brother minister, for your contributions to our nation and your sacrifice and the sacrifice of your family." My next question is: once you came into the mosque, who trained you, and what was it like during that time period? Okay.
I'll say this: the person who had the biggest impact on me, I think, was Dr. Muhammad, in terms of the teachings.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But in terms of the conduct of a Muslim, it was Brother Anthony Forex Bundy. He's a minister now in Atlanta.
Yes, yes, sir.
And I'll tell you why, brother. I mean, little things to me have the big effect. I love going out in the streets. I love it. I'm from Washington, D.C.
Yes, sir.
So when we were going to, like, when we went to Mayfair, I was going back to some of the places I used to buy my stuff from, you know?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm
yes,
a Muslim
sir.
now.
Yes,
and
sir.
they looking at me cross-eyed like, man, what? And they were looking at me to see if I'm faking, you know, that's the way we are. But yes, brother, I remember we were selling newspapers one time out on Minnesota and Pennsylvania Avenue, Brother Anthony and I. And I kept my papers up on this, it was like a metal telephone box.
Yes, sir.
And as I went to get my papers, there was a brother standing over, he was drinking. He was just watching us, you know, he's standing drinking, but he's watching us.
Yes, sir.
And we threw down. We got some, and when I went back over, we finished up. I went back over and I had a few more papers left, but I was kind of folding my money up. So the brother came over and asked me for a couple of dollars.
Yes, sir.
Brother Anthony was standing right near me. And I was about to give him some dollars, but I said, man, don't go in that store and buy no liquor with this.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and Brother Anthony put his hand over my hand and said, no, sir. No, sir. Don't give it to him. And I said, oh, no, man, I'm gonna give it to him, brother. But he said, no, sir. If you give it to him, give it to him. That's his. Don't give it to him and guide him into what to do with the money. He's not your slave. I said, well, Brother Anthony, you know, he said, brother, look, that's why he's probably like that, because he's never had the confidence or has not taken the confidence to make decisions on his own. So maybe if you're giving him something and you're trusting him, maybe that trust will get his confidence where he'll take that money, go in and do something right with it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That rocked me. That rocked me, brother. The other influence was your father. You know, I watched your father a lot. I watched how he would travel and come home, and he could be in national and local. Splendid.
Yes, sir.
And I liked that. I mean, I admired that. The drill team, I had conflict with it because I learned how to drill in the Marine Corps. And so I was always, you know, the Marine Corps, the way we do our facial movements was different from the FOI. The FOI, yes, you turn your head, but Marine Corps, you just turn your body, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that, and I did Marine Corps for years, so I had to kind of undo that. But Brother Darrell had an effect on that. I think there was a combination, Brother Yahya, you know, the older brother Yahya.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The things that he would tell me about the older believers, Sister Clara, Brother Minister Benjamin, listening to the old stories.
Yes, sir.
There was Brother Ronald, Brother Ronnie, he was Dr. Lean's driver. He came from Pittsburgh. Very quiet brother, brown skin, thin brother. Very prim, proper brother, but he had a lot of good wisdom. I picked up a lot of things from a lot of people. Yes, because I came into, and I was kind of old. And again, brother, if you remember, I was not in that mosque long before they put me up on that roster. And matter of fact, I still had a goatee when they put me up on that roster. I wasn't even registered yet. So I had to learn kind of on the fly, on the run. But I thank Allah, man, because it made it worthwhile, brother.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful.
Thank your father for that, man, because and your mother as well. I watched your mother. I remember when your mother and father were married. I remember that.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful. Okay. My next question for you, sir, is how did you get into opening your own school? How did that come about?
Well, first we opened up the University of Islam in number 4. We did that because when we were over in Mayfair, a lot of those brothers couldn't read. And so, you know, when we got them to start coming to the meet, we had little sessions over there. And the sisters used to make bean soup. And, you know, a lot of those brothers are homeless. And when we cleaned that place out, they had nowhere to go. So we had, I think the man's name was Reynolds who owned it. He put a building aside. The FOI had like a headquarters up in there. We had like a barracks area up in there for some of those homeless brothers. And I used to go in and talk with them. A lot of them didn't know how to read, and I was a teacher. So I started doing some remedial reading with them.
Praise be to God.
And then from that, a few of the sisters and the believers over in number 4 wanted to start a school. I got tired after I run for office, man. You know, I was dead meat in the school. They were bouncing me around all over the place, man. I mean, all over the place. So what we did, we put together a Sister Ernestine McIntosh, oh man, Sister Ruth, Sister Nisa, and a few of the brothers. We had like a Saturday school, and then we decided the next year, I think it was 92, we went for broke, man. We did a full-time school in there.
Praise be to God.
And man, it was beautiful. I got photographs of that, man. You know, my daughter went there for a minute. And then when I was sent out here, I started we started a school here. It was called the Leadership Training Institute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I started from a 501c3 because this was a study group. The minister sent me out here. This is a study group. And then we were kicking tail and taking on names because we were working during the building for the Million Man March.
Praise be to Allah.
So we got our number. We were in Mosque number 94. We got our number faster than any other study group. I was told by the national secretary at that time, faster than any mosque, any study group in the history of the Nation of Islam. We became Mosque number 94. Our school was a Leadership Training Institute. And you know, the interesting part, and I didn't realize this, that Kevin Durant used to come up here. His mother worked around the corner at the post office.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And she put her younger son up here. And I didn't know it because I didn't know Kevin Durant. I heard about him later, right? But Sister Stephanie, who was our director for education, she told me that his younger brother Anthony went to school here. And I didn't know, this little boy, I didn't know who he was.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
the other person who came up here was the guy. He was a quarterback. Golly, I just had his name, man. He was a quarterback for Pittsburgh for a minute. He was quarterback down for Tampa Bay. I'll tell you his name in a minute. But he used to come up here in the summertime. We had a summer camp up here. And he never played football. He's always played basketball outside. He's a professional quarterback. I'll tell you his name in a second. But
yes, sir.
We started school up here because people were hungry, man. And I noticed when we gave them the teachers. Let me say this, brother. Let me say this to kind of set that pattern. I taught special education. I taught psychoeducation in DC public schools. I was sent around. I had students who were level 5 emotionally disturbed. A lot of them had learning disabilities. But a lot of them were not necessarily emotionally disturbed. They were just people who did not know how to contain their minds. They would just tell you how they felt.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because they weren't afraid. People would label them as emotional problems or psychological problems. But when they sent them to me, brother, as long as I had them settled, my principals, I had good evaluations, but do you know what I used with them? They would come in my classroom, and a lot of them didn't have good reading skills or writing skills, but they would sit down, and I would have them have a piece of paper, and they would write black facts off the board.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I was giving them actual facts.
Praise be to Allah.
And then after they would do it, you know, they would put their paper and then we go to the next subject. But every day we had that routine to where they started expecting it. And then they would start focusing on it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Realizing that this was about them, we developed the appetite. I kept that going on with students who, some of them were coming out of Oak Hill, Seton, some of them were coming out of straight out of jail, because our students went up to 21 years old.
Mm.
So once I got them settled down, they would bounce me over to another school. I taught it about, in 18 years teaching, I taught maybe in about 12 different schools.
Mm. Mm.
And it was because of what we were using. They didn't say nothing about me giving them. I would go into the Supreme Wisdom. I would go into Message to the Black Man.
Praise be to Allah.
And they ate it, man. They ate it. I watched them eat it. And so that gave me an understanding. Look, man, we got to do something with this outside of these corridors, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And it works. It works, brother. Because these students, they got an appetite mentally and spiritually that we destroy it with nursery rhymes and fairy tales, because we feed that truth, that desire for truth with lies.
Mm.
You know, nursery rhymes, fairy tales, George Washington. We're killing that appetite. So by the time they get in this 5th or 6th grade, man, damage is done. Make believe, fairy tales. Come on, man. They can't see the laws of cause and effect clearly. So when we started that school, you know, there was an economic issue because some of the parents couldn't afford it, but as long as they could do something, and we kept that building going. So as the minister, I used to teach about the school from the rostrum. And I learned from the minister, because he did that in New York. You protect your building by having a school there. People won't criticize you. They won't be attacking you if they see you developing young people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Praise and that's what I did, and it worked, man. I mean, it worked. So I told any minister, man, you know, go do that, brother, because there's your next generation. I wonder why you want to be a teacher. I wonder where that came from.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Brother Mark Anderson Muhammad says, was it Byron Leftwich?
Byron Leftwich, that's who it was. Thank you, brother Mark. Yes, sir.
And
Byron Leftwich, that's right.
Yes, sir. Brother Akeem, who's Brother Daryl's Zion's son, says he remembers Minister Shawn teaching his English literature class at Muhammad University Leadership Training Institute about 20 years ago. Thank you for your vision. Thank you for your vision and your leadership and service to our nation. Praise be to Allah. Brother Ronald says, to the people.
Brother, let me say something about Brother Akeem. One thing I will always remember about that brother, he was very serious about his studies. To me,
yes, sir.
I used to have to calm him down because I thought he was a little too serious. But I admired that about him. He was a perfectionist, man.
Yes, sir.
If he didn't get it right, he would get upset. You know, and I like that about. I don't want that to be disturbed or anything. But I thank Allah for that brother, because he was a beautiful brother, man. Beautiful brother. Brother Daryl, Sister Zion had a beautiful family. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Yes, sir. And I had the honor of drilling with Brother Akeem for years, and he was very serious as well. Very, very intense. Very intense. Yes, sir. Brother Ronald says, if the people won't go to Muhammad, Muhammad must go to the people. Thank you, Brother Ronald, for getting deep. Yes, sir. My next question for you, Brother Minister, is, have you ever been faced with a moment of fear in your tenure in the nation? And if so, how did you overcome that fear?
Oh man, that's a wonderful question. Yeah, I had fear. Yeah, I did. But honestly, I live with fear a lot, because as a minister at number 4 and also out here in 94, I'll say this now. I hate to always refer to the military, but it taught me something indirectly. When you have men, like if you're a platoon leader or squad leader,
yes, sir, yes, sir,
or fire team leader, you know, your decisions affect people's lives. So you develop a type of rapport, you develop a type of relationship with them, even if you all don't like each other. You know, when I was in the military, when you went out on a patrol, brother, any differences you had, you get that squared away, because one person's hesitation can get people hurt, get people killed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, I'm saying that because when I became a minister over a mosque, and I'm looking at the believers, and a lot of believers married in there, they started families. Well, I'm representing Minister Farrakhan. To me, that's a responsibility. So I don't want to say things that will cause any harm to the believers. I was very mindful of that. Whenever I got up in front of the rostrum to speak, I always had written things. I didn't come winging nothing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I didn't
yes,
know
sir.
enough to wing nothing. You
yes,
know?
sir. Yes, sir.
But I was very mindful of what we said. And I thank Allah for the older pioneer Muslims in there, because in those days, if you said something wrong, they would stand up to correct you. And if you could excuse yourself off the right and they could take over your place. That's how it was.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're supposed to speak correct, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I was very fearful of the fact that some of the things that I could say could cause damage to people, cause relationships to be broken. I made it a point to always try to be accessible to any of the believers, because to me, it was a great, I appreciated the fact that at least they made an attempt to be a Muslim.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, so I took it, because I come from the city, man. I come from DC. I knew the heads out there that wouldn't come into the mosque, but they had an awe of the believers. And I hope, and I always try to teach the believers from that rostrum that you are blessed. You don't see it, you may not realize it, but I'm telling you straight off the top, you're blessed because you have a choice now. Some people didn't have the choice of cleaning up their lives with these teachings. They weren't exposed to it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, but you had the choice. And if you want to go back out in the world, that's your choice, but you got a choice. And so I was fearful of making decisions that would hurt the health and the family and, you know, of the believers. So, you know, I would sometimes, you know, wake up at night, you know, with stuff on my mind. That's what the minister, I would call the ministers whenever I could, not to hound them, but just to get his insight on stuff, man, because I saw the believers like I saw my men in the military. You know, we got to get there. I don't want to lose I don't want no casualties.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm not trying to put people out. I want you to stay in here and get fed. And then I want to one day see you take this thing apart. See, Brother Josh, another thing I used to do was anytime people came to me with these ideas, I used to deputize. Oh, okay, I like your idea. I'm going to share this with the labor and staff. Now, since you came with the idea, guess what? You're in charge of that idea.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Report to me what your progress was. And see, that gave them freedom to practice.
Yes, sir.
We got a lot of stuff done, brother, like that, man.
Praise be to Allah.
You know, we got a lot of innovative methods. I encourage people to use their creative thinking so much as opposed to competitive thinking.
Yes, sir.
You know?
Yes, sir.
Because that competitive thing is good in its own, but if you free Black people to be creative, man, we can solve everything, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, I mean, that's what, and so, yeah, I was afraid of that. We've had a couple encounters out there in the streets. I can't say I wasn't afraid. I mean, honestly, we were up there in Clifton Terrace, brothers shot at us and everything.
Yes, sir.
I can't sit there and tell you I wasn't afraid, but I called on Allah, and that's why we come right out of our mouth, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Out of me, Allah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know? But it's real, man. It was interesting, very interesting.
Praise be to Allah. And yes, sir. And speaking of Clifton Terrace, could you tell us what was it like going into Mayfair and Clifton Terrace for you on the side of the ministry? We see a lot of the people who are speaking more of the military, the security, but you being a minister, sometimes it's a different mindset going in to a rough neighborhood with the mind of a minister. What was it like for you to have that mindset? Well, honestly, brother, when I went to any one of them neighborhoods, I went, first of all, with the mindset of a brother because they knew me. A lot of them knew me. A lot of them were my friends. Now, I had to get close enough to them to minister to them. That was a proximity issue. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Once I got close to them and got them to put them guards down, then I could talk to them about, the spirituality of things. But the people, and unfortunately, I think it's gotten worse out here today. People are so brutal, insecure, that you have to penetrate that in order to feed them some kind of spirituality. Yes, sir. Or the truth. Then the other thing is I wrestled with, just again, I was in the military, man. I was a professional soldier, man. I mean, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. that was there. And but as a minister going in there, to directly answer that question,
I saw the power of the word of Allah, man.
Praise be to Allah.
I mean, honestly, man, and honest, brother, you can't pay somebody, you can't buy that kind of blessing. Because here's an example. I remember going into Mayfair. Well, actually, it was going up to a Paradise. And, you know, we would walk around, the dope boys would kind of look at us funny, you know. But there were brothers in there that were, you know, you had the militant strong, you know, I'm the militant bro, but you had brothers who were able to move around and just glide, you know, they were able to penetrate.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And there was a brother Mark, he had another brother named David, but brother Mark, light-skinned brother, he's from Boston, man.
Yes, sir. I interviewed him.
That, man. They loved him.
Yes, sir.
Brother, he was FOI, but brother he wasn't aggressive in his demeanor or anything. Brother was just pure. I call him pure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Love brother, man. If I went back up to that area of Benning Heights, where brother Mark was a god up there. Them sisters, brother Mark, you know, he wasn't flirtatious or anything, but they loved his spirit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He was steady, you know, and that was brother Mark's ministry to me. You know, my demeanor was a little different. You know, I had to, you know, I joke with people a little bit. You know, sometimes I'll get serious, but I had to try to adjust and adapt based on the personality that I saw.
Yes, sir.
But when they knew that we didn't have any weapons, see, that's where I got them. Because now I'm talking to you, you know, and I'm saying it's something I think you may not like what I'm saying, but I'm still saying it to you. And I'm not afraid to say it to you. And I'm not afraid that you're going to hurt me for saying it to you. So what gives me this insight or this willingness to do that? Well, that's the God that we are taught to serve. And I remember, I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was Dr. Lean, it could have been your father, but I remember hearing the brother over the rostrum say, you know, if you got a God that you worship and you still fear, you know, this dope boy, or you fear the white man, or you fear the police, then you need to go find a God that would take away that fear from you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, if you got that God, then you got the right God. And that's a practical thought.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, and so that's what secured my belief in Allah, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad.
Praise be to Allah.
You know?
Okay, that's beautiful. Brother Eric, who was from DC, said, yes, sir. Him and Brother Mark used to patrol together. My sister Mary,
that's right.
Yes, sir, we must free the believers. My next question is, speaking of your becoming the Mosque in Mosque number 94, what was it like leading up to the Million Man March, and how did the Million Man March personally impact you?
Oh, brother. When we came out here, we started to go to some of the pastors around this area. Sister Brenda, who was a protocol director, I think she's a regional protocol director, she was my protocol. She came out here, she registered out here. As a matter of fact, the National Sister Captain, she registered out here in Prince George's County.
Okay, yes, sir, yes, sir.
She was one of our original sisters. We did a lot of pioneer work, but we worked, man. We worked. We used to have local organizing committee meetings. I made it a point to meet with all of the ministers. And this happened. This brother, we were meeting over in Marlow Heights at the rec center. And I went to this ministers meeting right over here off of Central Avenue. And there was a brother there. He was a minister over here, C. Pleasant Baptist, just a young brother. And so after, you know, I sat down and I listened to the brothers, you know, all these ministers were talking their business, their church business. And I introduced myself, told them where I was and who I was. We were wrapping it up. The brother came over to me and asked me, brother, would you mind? I'd like for you to meet her over at my church. And it threw me. And I said, well, brother, he said, no, really, I'd like for you to meet over in my church. So I said, well, brother, I tell you what, we have brothers who meet on Mondays. And how about we come over to your church? We have our brothers meet over at your church on Monday nights. That was our FOI meeting, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so he said, okay, fine, but I still want you over at my church. So the first Monday we went over there, I realized why he wanted us over there. He had dope boys outside the back of the church selling drugs. So it was cool. I mean, it was cool, brother. We had some men. We went after him.
Yes, sir.
I told the brother who he became our captain, brother Wayne. I said, look, go down to Martin Luther King Highway to that McDonald's, get a bag of cheeseburgers. Got a big old bag of cheeseburgers, some fries, and some Cokes and stuff. Brought them back. So we went to the church. We came out there. Why don't y'all come on in and get something to eat, brothers? Come on in, man. I know y'all hungry out there. They came in, right? When they got in there, we started talking to them.
Praise be to Allah.
Started talking to them.
Beautiful.
Came back the next Monday. They're still out there. They came back in. Those are the brothers that ended up being some of our FOI. Well, the man wanted to be in the church, right? So during the time we were meeting in there, he said, brother, you got to see this place, man. You got to see this place. You know, you got to see this place, man. You got to come out and see the place. So I said, okay. Well, then one day he came in and took me by the arm and walked me up this hill. And when he walked me up the hill, I saw this big house and this property. He said, man, brother, I know the guy who owns that. I know he would love for you all to be up in because they want you in the community. They saw us knocking on doors selling papers, right? Well, I talked to the man. He said, I've seen your people out there on the corners, and I'm very proud of them. They're very clean cut. You know, they're very neat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so he said, yes. And so where I am right now, and this is what became the mosque. This became Muhammad C. Pleasant Study Group. We were Study Group of the Year, our second year.
Praise be to Allah.
And we became Mosque number 94. Wow. While we were organizing for the march, I was meeting with the ministers. This one minister up here, I'm not going to say his name, but he has probably the biggest church in Prince George's County. The presidents, everybody go out there and see him, right? Well, this brother who invited me in his church, he took me to another ministers meeting. And they used to meet, they probably still do, off of Pennsylvania Avenue on Monday mornings. So I went to the meeting. All these big time ministers sitting at this table, and they chewing the fat. Brother, his brother got this big boat. We all want to get a boat like him. We work hard. You know, our people should treat us like that. Man, they were bragging and everything, brother.
Yes,
I'm sitting back and listening. They don't know who I am, but they just going for it, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So after they finished, the brother invited me and said, look, he wants this brother, he's representing Minister Farrakhan. He wants to present something to you, say a few words. So I went before him and I said, look, on behalf of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, we're talking about having a 1 million man march here, and we're going to call it the Day of Atonement. And I explained everything to him, right? I said, look, we need to atone for our sins because we have let our people down. We've let our families down and blah, blah, blah. So they got real quiet. So then after I finished, they excused me out of the room. So about 15 minutes later, they invited me back. This guy who's the head of the group, he's the one who got this big church up here, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He said, brother, we appreciate, your message. We appreciate your invitation, but we can't accept it. And I said, well, sir, would you mind explain to me, why can't you accept this? He said, because you don't see Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior. So I looked at him. I said, brother, with all due respect, I don't think you know who I receive, or who I accept as my Lord and Savior. I said, but we believe in Jesus. I said, as a matter of fact, our teachings has us living the life of Jesus.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We smoke and drink and chase women, and when I said, but the reason why I'm here, I said, I've been to some of your churches, and you all have had rabbis up in those churches. You all go and congregate with Jewish people, and they don't recognize Jesus.
At all. That's right.
We're here to offer you to be in front of your men because your men going to be out there.
Yes, sir.
Man, when I said that brother read back. I said, you heard what I said? Your men going to be out there. We just want you to be there with them. And we excuse ourselves, man. But we got the people. We got them people, brother.
Praise be to Allah. And thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for your hard work. I couldn't even picture often talk to my parents like going somewhere and a mosque isn't established, a study group isn't established, and then organizing something like that by myself, and then may Allah bless you for your hard work.
I did bless me, bro. See that was quite up here.
Yes, sir. I mean, I couldn't even picture that type of whatever. Brother,
Yes, sir.
I have a quick commercial break. I have a quick commercial break just to announce my sponsors of this week's podcast. My brother Rashad and his business partner Jamal, Street Premiere Video Production and Editing. I want to thank you all. They have a 4K camera and drone. They do video production, television, anything you need. Reach out to Street Premiere. Thank you very much. My sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me, coloring and children's book. It is on Amazon. Thank you very much, Sister Miriam. Also, my sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually. Thank you for your sponsorship. If you all need some people to teach young girls how to do ballet, reach out to Sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy, LLC. Supreme Men's Clothing, St. Louis, Missouri, 10835 West Florissant Avenue, 314-528-5555. Our brother has some of the best clothes in the world. Reach out to him. BMW Entertainment, Brother Ronald, who asked the question earlier, Phoenix, Arizona. They do event planning all over the country. If you need an event plan, reach out to BMW Entertainment. Brother Kenneth, Bowtie, Maker Extraordinaire, 917-337-1380. He'll ship a bow tie to you anywhere in the world. Supreme Team Insurance, Todd X. McGraw, 803-521-2787. Thank you very much, Brother Todd X. McGraw. Baby Bean Pie out in Oakland, California. That's Brother Carlton and Sister Zakiya Muhammad. They got the baby bean pies. Thank you very much for your support. I'm coming right back to you, Brother Minister. Sister Shelly Hassan of Exodus, a new way of credit restoration.com. If you need your credit fixed, please reach out to our sister. Brother Chantel X, Supreme Express, the X Factor in transportation and logistics out of Houston, Texas. Sister Serena Woodford, Fort Lauderdale, designsofcomposure.com, hollytexture.com. They deal with textured natural hair and skincare products. Thank you very much. Also, Brother Maurice D. Muhammad, 24 karat gold by the gram or by the 10th, therealmoney.online, Asiatic cents. They deal in real gold. Thank you very much. I'm coming to you, Brother Minister. Just two more.
Brother, keep on moving. I like that.
Real Raising Black Millionaires flashcards by Sister Tia Muhammad. Thank you very much. She has flashcards for every day of the year to teach young Black people about economic empowerment and development. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. Thank you very much, Father, for your support. And last but not least, my two books, which are on Amazon, No Father, No Excuse, as well as Cleopatra, a children's book. Thank you all very much for your support. If you all would like to sponsor, it's Cash App, The People's Podcast. Thank you very much. Right back to you, Brother Minister.
That's beautiful, brother. I like that.
Praise
That's be to progress. I love that.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you,
praise
sir.
to Allah, man.
What has been your greatest joy in your tenure in the Nation of Islam?
What my greatest joy is, I have a daughter who is a believer in the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, man.
Praise be to Allah. Yes,
and
sir.
I never asked her to join the Nation of Islam. I never, she was with me. And I wanted her to see things. And she saw things. She saw the good. She was around some of the bad. She saw some of the trials and tribulations. I mean, but she made that decision on herself, with herself. And she's married to a good brother who's FOI in St. Louis, Charles. They have a beautiful daughter. I'm a grandfather. And that's what a father wants. The other thing is this, brother, is doing this right here. I'm looking at you all, man. I'm looking at you all.
Yes, sir. Yes,
because
sir.
my focus was education, not educating. Well, I did some of the older people, but it's you all.
Yes, sir.
And I'm telling you, brother, oh man, you all got it. You got it.
Praise be to Allah.
I watched some of the younger brothers and sisters, man, and man, you're at the right time.
Praise be to Allah.
You all are at the right time because this thing is going out, and you all have something to offer that is contrary to this, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And all the impediments really are being moved to the side. You all just got to roll with it, man. And the other thing I'm noticing, your generation, these white kids are following you all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They're following you all, man.
Big facts.
So I think a lot, because a lot of my friends growing up, I'm 63. A lot of my friends ain't around. I lost a lot of my friends due to their lifestyle, But I thank a lot for being around, brother, because I don't feel like I thought a 63 man would be. I don't feel like it.
Praise be to the Lord.
Got gray hair and stuff, but I feel good.
Praise
and I thank Allah for it. I thank Allah for these teachings. The wisdom of Dr. Muhammad in terms of health and medicine and stuff,
yes,
man.
Sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
pay
sir.
attention to you, brother, man.
Yes, sir.
But I thank Allah just for my experiences, man. And one of the best moments I had was introducing my father to the Honorable Louis Farrakhan.
Yes, sir.
I watched it. And as a matter of fact, I have a photo there. I put it on my website, on my Facebook, because that was a very monumental thing. I watched how the minister affected my father, man.
Praise be to Allah.
That
beautiful.
Priceless.
Yes, sir.
Priceless. So yeah, I'm glad I got blessings and emotions and thoughts to me that are priceless, man. And I wouldn't try to buy it.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. My sister Miriam, Brother Eric says, please give his dear brother Shawn the greetings and a whole bunch of emojis. Thank you, brother.
Wa alaikum salam. Please return it.
Yes, I will. And my sister Miriam says, a beautiful daughter with a sweet spirit and a true soldier. Praise be to Allah for your daughter, Sister Presley Muhammad. Okay, my next question is, will you ever write a book about your life?
I don't know, man. You know something, brother? That's a good question. I wouldn't be against. I never thought about doing it. I mean, I thought about having a book, but I never thought about writing a book. Maybe inshallah I will do that, because I have to think about a lot of stuff, man. I've seen a lot of things, and just to be around a minister, just even prior to joining the nation, when I worked at a Hyatt hotel, man, I got to see all of these Prince. I met Little Richard. I met a whole bunch. Ali.
Yes,
I met all of, and so those experiences, man. I used to watch television and see the people. Man, I just saw that guy. That guy just checked in the hotel the other night.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
People look, yeah, right. No, it was the truth. It was the truth, man. I met Richard Pryor. I had a good talk with Richard Pryor years ago, man.
Hey.
And this is when he had just got back from Africa. He was on his way down to New Orleans to do that Richard Pryor Here and Now. But he stayed in the hotel for a week, right? I took him up to his room. I was a bellman in there. And I remember I was bringing his stuff into the room, and he went and propped down, and he was sitting back, and he was asking me about, just small talk.
Yes, sir.
I said, brother, let me ask you this, man. What's it like, brother? I mean, you got it made, man. What's it like?
Yeah.
And I remember he looked back and he looked off. He said, brother, if I knew what I had to lose to get this, I never would have done this. And I was coming back. I had his clothes out in a clothes cart outside. You never bought the cart in the room, so I had to go back and forth and take stuff off his cart. But I positioned the cart to where people walking by wouldn't be able to look in and see him in there, right? So I said, well, what do you mean by that? He said, brother, if you go back out there and see them people out there, you'll be able to tell you right off the top whether they like you or not just by being you. He said, for the rest of my life, man, I don't know if people accept me for being Richard Pryor the person or Richard Pryor the entertainer. He said, even my own family, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. And I remember, brother Joshua, he was standing out of the window while he was talking. He was reflecting while he was talking to me, right? So I went back by him again, and he muttered this. He said, that's why Michael Jackson's a freak of the planet. And I stopped and looked at him and said, excuse me, what you said? He said, you heard what I said. He said, that boy never knew what it's like to be a regular person before.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And he said, I lived that life. I never forgot that, man. Because whenever I look at these people who are personalities and everything, a lot of them lose themselves, man. They give up their humanity. That was one thing about Minister Farrakhan, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, brother. I instinctively keyed in on that because of all of that attention and everything. That man's maintaining a clear, pure aspect of self.
Yes, sir.
He
Yes, sir.
protected that and guarded it. And that's why he's able to keep his sanity, I think.
Praise be to Allah. Speaking of that, first of all, I want to say that that's amazing. Richard Pryor is one of my, top 5 favorite comedians of all time. I think that's a great story.
Different, brother. Man, I could tell you some stories about him in that hotel, brother.
That's not.
I mean, they're comical, but he was an amazing person, man.
Yes, sir.
Prince was too.
Okay, yes, sir. Prince is a legend. Beautiful.
Prince. That brother, I wouldn't have met him. He was in the room by himself, and the room was kind of dark. And I went over. I was bringing stuff into his room to him, and we had a little small talk. But the brother is not very tall, but he has this deep baritone voice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the voice don't fit him. That's so you're looking at him while.
Yes, sir.
But he had a good warmth about him, and he had a very interesting. It was like a kindness about him. He was seemed to be a very genuine person, man. But it was a sense of vulnerability in him I picked up, man. It just so happened I was teaching up at Hamilton Junior High School at that time, and he had a concert out here at the Capitol Center. But also he did a benefit concert up at Gallaudet University where the deaf students were, right? And that was right behind the school where I taught. Now I was kind of high in the world. Are deaf students gonna listen to Prince?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But it's the vibration. They were picking up on the vibration that comes from the instruments, man.
Beautiful.
And they invited us to come bring our students around, because I had junior high school age students. We went around to see the concert. And man, Prince played, brother.
Yes, sir.
Played. This is like 12 noon, right?
Yes, sir.
But when he finished, some of the Gallaudet students went and bought him like a bouquet. And Brother Johnson, he broke down and wept.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He heaved and wept. And man, it was unusual. That brother broke down and wept like a baby. And I think it was because those students came up, and all of us had challenges. But when you're dealing with young people who have these kind of challenges, man, it gives you a different perspective in life. And I think that's what he felt. And yes, man, he wept. He wept really. But, those kind of experiences, man.
Praise be to Allah. Excellent. And thank you, Brother Eric, for talking about humility. And Brother Ronald agrees that Prince is absolutely a legend. My next question for you, sir, is what would you like your legacy to be, Brother Minister?
Brother, what I would like, and I pray to Allah that people remember me as being a brother that tried to help people. I see, and this is the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that opened me up. We are beautiful and great people, man. Even we act crazy as hell sometimes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But even in that, we are beautiful people, man. And all I would like to be remembered is, the brother was okay. He was a good brother. He was a good brother. If that's there, I'm fulfilled, man. I don't try to waste my time. Just remember it as that. I try to be a good brother.
Beautiful. Well, I want to thank you, Brother Minister, for always for all your hard work, your family sacrifice. But I want to thank you for your kindness. When you're young children, you always pick up on the vibrations of who's nice and who's sincere. Many times, for me and my siblings, at least, we always talked about that. You were always kind to us. We have some horror stories from some certain adults, like, oh, they were mean, they were, bad. You were very kind to me and my family. I appreciate that. I thank you, Brother Minister, for being a great example of a Muslim and an educator. And I have so much more respect for education as I move towards that field. So thank you, Brother Minister.
Thank you, brother.
Sir. And thank you all for watching the People's Podcast. May Allah bless you, Brother Minister.
May Allah bless all of you. May Allah bless you too, Brother Joshua.
Assalamu alaikum. Walaikum salam, sir.